3 of Political Science 560, exercise number 5. In the last two parts of the exercise, we downloaded a shapefile for the Tiger file from the Census Bureau and downloaded some attributes about median income from the American Community Survey. In the second part of the exercise, we went through and reprojected the Tiger file so that it would match up with our local data sets. And we also clipped out all the census tracts which are outside of Guilford County because we didn't need that information. So now we have a Tiger file which has been successfully reprojected. It covers just Guilford County. And in this final portion of the exercise, we're going to be tying the attributes for median income to the Tiger file geography so that we can create a thematic map which will shade each of the census tracts based on the household median income. Now, before I launch map window, let's do a couple other things first which will make the work a little bit easier for us. First thing we're going to do is, you remember the shapefile, or excuse me, remember the file that we got with the American Community Survey? It had an extension on it called CRV. Let's just take a look at that for a second. I'm going to launch my File Explorer. I'm going to navigate to where I have my data. And you notice that the file name here ends with the extension of CSV. CSV is a text file. But working with text files can be somewhat cumbersome sometimes. So we're going to actually take this file and we're going to save it as an Excel spreadsheet just to make things simpler for us down the road. This is not uncommon. A lot of times the data you're going to use in GIS are going to be in Excel spreadsheet format. So let's go ahead and we'll go through that process so you can see what will happen when you work with Excel. So to do that, if you probably have all done this in Excel before, but just in case, we'll walk through it. We're going to double click to open file. We're going to pick File, Save As. We're going to pick an Excel workbook. And we'll leave the name the same, just with the XLS extension, and we'll pick Save. Okay, let's go ahead and close Excel. So now you'll notice I now have a new file out here, which is a true Excel spreadsheet that includes all the American Community Survey information. So now we can go ahead and launch Map Window. We'll go ahead and we'll close this. If you don't already have Map Window open, as I didn't, I'm going to go ahead and pick exercise number 5, ignoring the silly mismatch. So this should look pretty familiar to you. It's how Map Window looked at the end of our previous exercise. Let's do one thing that will make the map a little less busy. Let's go ahead and turn off the labels for the county commissioners. So I double click that layer and I pick labels. And I make labels so that they're unchecked, the label's visible, and OK. So that gets rid of that. And again, of course, we'll turn the commissioners off for a second, and you can see I've got the census tracts underneath. Now, when we get ready to do our thematic map, it's going to want to generate a map using a numeric value for median income. However, with the American Community Survey, when we pulled that information down from the Census Bureau, it came into us as pure ASCII text. Right? There are no numbers or anything of that nature. It's just characters, some of which happen to look like numbers, but as far as the computer is concerned, it's just characters. And so when we do this join and then later try to do this mapping, we need to make sure that the map window sees the median income information as a numeric value. And there's probably several ways to do that. I think the easiest way, however, to do that will be to create a numeric field in our census tract layer. And then we'll take the information from the American Community Survey for median income and we'll push that into that numeric field. And at that point, then Map Window will see it as a numeric value and will allow us to do the mapping. If that sounds kind of confusing, it'll probably make a little bit more sense when we go through the process. So first thing I'm going to do is I've decided I'm going to put the numeric field in the census tract shapefile. And to do that, I do that through the table tool. So I'm going to highlight Guilford tracts. I'm going to click the table tool. I'm going to do edit. I'm going to add a field, and we'll call this field median income. And in terms of type, this is where the numeric component of this comes into play. We're going to call this a double type, which allows us to put in decimal points and things of that nature. The width and the precision will be fine. We'll just go ahead and say OK to all that. And now when I scroll over to the right, you'll see I have this new field that's been added to my table for the for Guilford Tracks. So now let's go ahead and go through the process for the join. So to do the join, what we basically will be doing is we'll be telling the map window the name of the spreadsheet that we're going to be joining to and the fields that we're going to join on. So let's go through that process and we'll kind of talk through it a little bit. We're going to start off by clicking the tool for join. And we're going to we're going to add the name of the file that we're going to be joining. And we're not going to be joining a DBF file. That's a type of database file. Instead, what we're going to be joining is an Excel workbook. And this is, of course, the Excel workbook we created earlier. So we'll double click it. This may not have opened up to the directory where your Excel workbook is located. You'll have to navigate around to find it. But in any case, once you found it, double click on it. And it's told me that I'm getting ready to do the join. It's asking me to get to columns. I need to do that so that, well, first of all, it's asking me what workbook page I want. That's the only workbook page, so we'll take it. But I do now need to get to columns so that I can tell Map Window how to do the join. So we're going to do get columns. Now, this is a list of columns which is in the shapefile, in our track shapefile. And the one that has got this unique ID number that we took a look at earlier in the shapefile is called GeoID. And the field in the spreadsheet, which has got the corresponding ID number, is called GeoID2. I do not have any idea why they're named differently. So, but we select those. So this is a column in the shapefile which has got the unique ID number. This is the corresponding column in the spreadsheet. And we'll click join. It's telling me the join is successful. I'll click OK. And I'll click close. And now you'll notice I have the information in the table for the shapefile. But as I scroll across, you'll see now I have also all the information in the spreadsheet as well, and they've been attached. So the information for each census tract in the spreadsheet is now attached to the census tract polygons in my shapefile. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to calculate a value in for median income. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the one which is in the spreadsheet is a text field, so we need to tell it that it's going to be numeric, and the easiest way to do that is to simply copy it into a numeric field. All right, so one thing we want to do, however, first of all, is we're going to select all the records so the calculation will occur in every census tract. So I picked select and then select all. Okay. And then I'm going to pick the field calculator button. It's given me a list of all the fields in the shapefile as well as the spreadsheet that's been joined to. And the destination field, the one which I'm going to be writing new information to, is the one called median income. And the median income field is going to be equal to, we'll have to find the column in the spreadsheet, which is HC0187, no, excuse me, 85. My heading got away from me. There it is. It's HC01_VC85. That's the median income, median family income. I'm going to double click on it. It adds it to this box, so this is how it's building this formula for me. And I'll pick calculate. And it's done with the calculation. I'll go ahead and close the calculator. And then I'll go select none. Okay. So now you can see that for our spreadsheet, for our shapefile, we have the median income for each of the census tracts. Now I don't need the spreadsheet any longer for our project, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect this join, because all that's doing is just making the project a little more complicated because I have all this other data I don't need. And so to do that, I'll pick the join button again. And I'm going to save my changes to the table editor, the change being that calculation. Should have done that first anyhow. I'm going to save the changes, and then it's taken me to the window where I can stop my joins, and I'm going to click Stop All. And I'll click OK, and I'll click Close. So now you'll see that looking now back at just again the shapefile information, and most importantly for what we've just done, the median income. I'll go ahead and close the table editor. I'm done with that for now. All right, so our next step then is going to be to categorize the census tracts so that we can shade them by that median income. And to do that, we're going to double click on Guilford Tracts. We're going to pick Categories. You notice that our median income field shows up now because it knows it's a median numeric field. Let's go ahead and click on it. We'll leave 7 categories. That's probably good enough. And we'll generate it. And so what it's done now is created 7 categories for us. It's created a category of unclassified. That would be a situation where we didn't have any attributes or a census tract, but the count is 0 because we have all of the attributes. We also have now 3 census tracts which have a median income of less than $13,950, etc., etc. And that's how we got our 7 categories. Let's go ahead and shade that. Now, normally I don't use a color ramp of red to green. We'll go ahead and do that here because we really do have a situation where the numbers are implying something is better than another number. And then we'll go ahead and we'll hit generate again. So it's come up and told us obviously the low income census tracts are in red, the high income census tracts are in green. And we'll click OK. So there are, in our map, census tracts for Guilford County, and they have been mapped by median family income. That's as far as I need to take this exercise. However, you have some more work to do because you're going to need to take this information that we've presented here, and you're going to need to create for me a PDF file. We did that in the last exercise, so you can go through that exercise. I think it was part 3 of the video. And you'll generate a PDF file for me and submit it to me in Google Maps, on Google Drive. But my goal will be for you to have a PDF file with the census tract shaded by median income, just as you're seeing here. Don't forget to include an object on your PDF file, which will include your name. And that concludes this exercise.